185 straight days of Clippers talk.
Yes, sir.
Welcome in. I'm Adam Mosland. Some of you thought I may have been caught slipping, that today was the day the streak would end. Never. Okay, at some point it will. But today's not that day.
Getting strong now.
I'm Adam Mosland. It is Clippers Talk. If you guys want to get on, 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150. A little bit of counter programming, I guess. But I think you could be watching this and watching the national championship game. I'm going to end this around, I guess, about the time the second half starts, because I do want to watch it. But I had to get a Clippers Talk in today. If you guys are in the chat, let me know. Punk's Gone Wrong is in here. How we doing, Punk's Gone Wrong?
Yes, sir.
Howdy. We will talk about the latest injury report from the Clippers and what it means for the back-to-back, the final back-to-back of the season. They have had 17 of them, more than any other squad. I believe a couple teams had 16 back-to-backs, and the Clippers were in that group, but then because of the fires in Southern California, they had one added. Steve Rodriguez, what's up?
Yes, sir.
Good to see you guys getting in here now.
I mean, you got to be big boys and come out and play.
You guys coming out to play?
I mean, you got to be big boys and come out and play.
Mikey's in
I
here.
mean, you got to be big boys and come out and play.
Who else do we got? All right. I guess I could start things off. I want to run through some numbers with you guys that I've seen over the last couple of days, stuff that I thought speaks to how well the Clippers have been playing. Starting with this. Clippers are so hot right now. Yeah, they've won 14 of their last 17 games. But is this the hottest they have ever looked heading into the postseason under Coach Lue? It was a question I asked, I think, our last show yesterday with Grant Mona. God, these shows run together, and I feel like yesterday was a week ago, but then it also at the same time feels like it was earlier today. I don't even know what's going on. I'm trying to get stronger, Clavon.
Getting strong now.
So they had a 15-5 stretch ahead of the 2021 postseason, according to Justin Russo. They had a 7.6 net rating, a plus 7.6 net rating during that span. They went 11-5 with a plus 4.1 net rating over their last final 6 games of the 22-23 season. Then went 12-4 with a plus 10 net rating over their final 16 games in the split between pre-COVID and the bubble under Doc Rivers. So that's kind of an outlier to me. I'm trying to figure out how good they have been entering the postseason under Coach Lue. But right now, they're 14-3 their last 17 games with a plus 14.5 net rating over that span.
Getting strong now.
So yeah, there's an argument to be made that they've never looked better heading in to the postseason. Pretty impressive. Playing their best basketball at the right time. Who else do we got in here? David's in here. Supernova. J-Dog, he was asking earlier, are we getting to episode 185? Yes, 185 episodes straight. You guys are already talking about the subject matter we're about to dive into regarding Kawhi Leonard and if he should play both games of the back-to-back. What do the numbers say?
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
Well, he just played his first back-to-back this past weekend against the same team Friday and Saturday, the Dallas Mavericks, with the Clippers getting the 2-game mini-series sweep over them. Bay City is in here, and Kawhi did look stronger in Game 2, where he had 29 points in 25 minutes.
Getting strong now.
And yes, congratulations to Kawhi Leonard for being your Western Conference Player of the Week.
Getting strong now.
Deserves it. He's been that good. The Clippers went 4-0 during that time. If I could get my fucking Gmail to work. Okay, sorry for the language there.
Getting strong now.
I'm sorry. Like it shouldn't have been that difficult. That's all I'm saying. What do we got here? What do we got? This was from La Murray of The Athletic. I think he posted this earlier too. But I did want to show you the numbers for Kawhi over this span when he was your Western Conference Player of the Week. Named that earlier today. 25 points per game, 6 boards, 2 steals, shooting 51% from the field, 38% from 3, 86% from the free throw line. That covers March 31st through April 6th for Kawhi Leonard. I mean, those are big numbers. I would also say he's had much more impressive numbers over his last 12 games now, where Kawhi during that span is putting up, I think 26 per game on 57, 52, 92 splits. You're shooting splits there. Like, that's just incredible. And the Clippers over the last 3 games, so that's going back to the Pelicans game at Into a Dome and the back-to-back over this weekend. They have led for 140 of those 144 minutes over the last 3 games. Very impressive. La Murray had this earlier. Ever since James Harden dropped 50 points on the Pistons, playing the second night of a back-to-back after they blew a 23-point lead in Phoenix the night before. But ever since him dropping that 50-point performance against the Pistons at Into a Dome, the Clippers have had the NBA's best defense, the NBA's number 2 offense, the NBA's 3rd best record at 14-3, tied with the Thunder behind Celtics and Rockets. So it's all about the numbers when you look at how good they have been specifically over this 14-3 span, their last 17 games where they have gone 14-3, I should say.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
That's kind of what I'm interested in looking at for this team and how they stack up, since really Kawhi Leonard got back to looking like the best version of himself, as I like to say, the best iteration of himself. So that would be from March 5th till now, I believe, if I put in the parameters right. That will take us over the Clippers' last 17 games. Yes. And during that time, their offensive rating is second to the Boston Celtics. Their defensive rating is first, ahead of the Houston Rockets. So things have shifted. They were second in both areas. Now they're actually first defensively over that span. What are they in pace during this time? About the same as they've been all season. 24th. How about rebounding percentage? 6th. Okay, seems good. Defensive rebounding percentage 3rd over that time, last 17 games for the Clippers. Offensive rebounding percentage still not great, 27th. But that's kind of where things have been for them throughout the majority of the season in those categories. But net rating wise, first over the last 17 games. The Clippers, best in the league with their net rating. Offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating plus 14.5 over that span. Who else do we got in here now? What do we got? The Realist, D. Damari. Realist said, we must win. Okay, that's fair. David Hong said, Supernova. Don't know exactly what that's referring to. Just Kawhi. And okay, yeah, how well he's been playing. Punk's Gone Wrong said Clippers would be then the only team Adam Silver would give a back-to-back in the playoffs to. Come on. They can't do that. I don't think that's possible here. Okay. Let's talk about it. A little bit earlier, the injury report came out from Clippers PR, and it reads like this. Out Amir Coffey with left knee inflammation. Questionable Kawhi Leonard. right knee injury management. That's what he was listed as earlier in the day on Saturday before he eventually became available to play in his first back-to-back where he looked stronger than ever.
Getting strong now.
Part of the way we're going to evaluate if he should play on this back-to-back is by how he looked in the one he just played in, his very last game. He had 29 points in 25 minutes on Saturday. The game before that on Friday, 20 points in 24 minutes. He was 12 of 19 Saturday night from the field, 63% shooting, 29 points in 25 minutes, and was just flourishing out there. He made it look so easy, so effortless, but also he was so aggressive. His scoring appetite, the way he is looking to score right now, often, and the way the Clippers are playing through him as that number one option. I love seeing it. I thought Saturday, well, Kawhi said post game, this wasn't some hurdle he was looking to clear. I do think, it was meaningful that he looked even better the second game of the back-to-back. Health-wise, he didn't look slow out there. He didn't look like he was laboring. He didn't look like he was gassed from the night before. He only played 24 minutes. If anything, he looked sharper. He looked more in tune. Like playing on Friday, got a better version of Kawhi on Saturday because he was already in rhythm. And you're playing pretty much every other day when you get into the playoffs. Yeah, I heard Jim Moore too. I heard Jim Moore there too. Playoffs. It's just impressive to see Kawhi, his first back-to-back in over a season, look that strong out there.
Getting strong now.
So the question is, with 4 games remaining and their final back-to-back being tomorrow and Wednesday, the question is, should Kawhi play both of these games? My knee-jerk reaction is no. My initial reflexive reaction is just San Antonio has been playing really bad basketball. It's understandable. They are hurt. Now, Jeremy Sohan is out. Wemby's been out. De'Aaron Fox has been out. They have lost. They have lost 7 of 8. They lost to the Pistons, the Cavaliers, the Celtics. Okay, good teams. Warriors, Magic. They did beat the Nuggets in Denver in a game where Jokic didn't play. Jamal Murray didn't play. They were resting guys. Russell Westbrook got 30 in a loss. I'm trying to think, did Aaron Gordon play in that game? No, he did not. I mean, they were starting DeAndre Jordan, Jalen Pickett, Russell Westbrook, Hunter Tyson, Zeke Naji. They didn't play anybody. They didn't play Christian Brown. That victory doesn't mean a lot to me. I'm guessing Denver thought they could still get the win. It was right after they had lost, I think, the night before. Was that the game to... That was the game to Minnesota with the 60-point triple-double in the loss from Nikola Jokic. But they lost to the Cavaliers again after that. The Spurs, their lone win in their last 8 games in Denver. Then they lost to the Cavaliers again. They lost to Portland after that. Now, the Portland game, and this is no disrespect to the Spurs, it's just the state of where they're at. They are building, they might be the new OKC Thunder with the amount of assets they have combined with young players that are only going to get better. But they lost to Portland last night. So they do have a day off today before playing the Clippers. I just see the way this Clippers team has been playing as of late. Winners of 14 of their last 17 games. 3 of those games, they didn't have Kawhi Leonard. With how good they have been playing, I don't think they should need Kawhi Leonard to take down the San Antonio Spurs. And if they lose that game somehow without him, I'm not going to say, oh, should have played Kawhi. I'll say they had enough. They had enough. They had plenty. They had more than enough to beat the San Antonio Spurs. And that's on them if they don't get it done at home after 2 days off. What's the argument against that? Because here's what I'm going to say. And I don't know. Maybe he will play both games of the back-to-back. But my guess is if he plays against San Antonio, the next night he'll be on a minutes restriction because that's what it was the second night against Dallas. We don't know exactly what the minutes restriction was, but he only ended up playing 25 minutes, and that could have been because they were blowing them out, led by as many, I think, as 31 or 32. So if you play him against San Antonio, there's a chance you don't have him for 35 or 38 or 40 minutes against the Houston Rockets. Now, people are asking the right question. Adam, you think the Rockets are going to sit their players? My understanding is if the Lakers lose to OKC tomorrow, the Rockets will have clinched the number 2 seed. Chat, if you know if that's accurate, let me know. See, this is what I don't understand. Mike says, play Kawhi versus Spurs, rest versus the Rockets, go for the sure thing. The Spurs should be a sure thing without Kawhi. I know nothing's a sure thing. It's the NBA. You can't underestimate anyone. But if they play the right way against San Antonio, they have more than enough. Again, no Sohan, no Wemby, no De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell are playing. Keon Johnson, I think, is available. They have guys that can beat you. They've also lost 7 of 8. 7 of 8. The Clippers really shouldn't beat San Antonio, even without Kawhi. Like, if Kawhi doesn't play in that game, so you get him for full minutes against the Houston Rockets the next night, and they lose to San Antonio somehow, you're going to be saying, oh, should have played him. The fact that he is questionable and not out tomorrow makes me think, obviously, there's a possibility he plays both again. But I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of there should be no excuses against San Antonio, even if you don't have Kawhi. And I would rather have Kawhi for 38 minutes if I need him to be at that minutes excess against the Rockets. Because if you play him against San Antonio, he's going to be on a minutes restriction the next night, I'm guessing, because that's what it was against Dallas. I could be wrong, but doesn't that make sense? Even if he only plays 24 minutes against San Antonio and they blow him out like they did Dallas on Friday, he was still on a minutes restriction on Saturday. So less than a week removed from that, I think it would still be the case. If he plays around 25 minutes against San Antonio, he'll be on a minutes restriction on Wednesday against the Houston Rockets. And I think if the Rockets are still playing for something, if they're playing their guys, you're probably going to need Kawhi for 35 or 40. And he's been playing heavier minutes, and he's been feeling good. But the other side of it is they just had 2 days off. Do you want to give him 3 days off? Is 3 days off too many? Is that going to lead to rust if he doesn't play against San Antonio? He's in such a good groove right now. You don't want to disrupt that by having too much time off? I could see that argument. I don't know if it outweighs what I'm saying about getting him for 40 minutes if need be against Houston, but it's not nothing. I get it. I think there's a good chance he plays in both. Let's see. Who do we got in here? It's true. The Rockets might rest depending on if the Lakers win or not tomorrow. I think if the Lakers lose to OKC because the standings are so jumbled up and there's so many different possibilities, it's like Doctor Strange. I think if the Lakers lose to OKC tomorrow, the Rockets lock in the 2 seed. Therefore, they might start sitting some guys, or maybe it's still too early and their guys are young and they're good with still playing and building good habits leading into the postseason. I want to see how many games left the Rockets do have. I'm guessing. Okay, so they have 3 games left. Maybe it's not too early, including a game against the Lakers in LA on Friday. So they're hanging out in LA for a couple of days. I could see that if the Lakers actually beat OKC tomorrow being the game that they're circling. They also, their final game of the season is against the Denver Nuggets. Denver is sliding right now. They're in a bad place, obviously. I don't know. To me, I totally understand if the Clippers do play Kawhi in both, even if it gives them limited minutes against the Houston Rockets because they want to keep him fresh or because they don't want to risk a hot shooting game from San Antonio and maybe you needed Kawhi and you're just going for it right now because things are that tight in the standings. For instance, Justin Rousseau put out the different scenarios for the Clippers last night. If the Clippers win out, they're no worse than the 6th seed. If they win out plus 1 Denver loss, they're no worse than the 5 seed. Here's Denver's schedule with 3 games left. At Sacramento on Wednesday, at home against Memphis on Friday, and then in Houston on Sunday. They could easily lose one of these games. So the Clippers could be saying, even if we have to divvy up minutes between tomorrow against San Antonio and Wednesday against Houston, and you can't play the entire game Wednesday, maybe it's worth it just to try your damnedest to win out. If the Clippers win out plus 1 Denver loss, plus 1 Minnesota loss, no worse than the 4 seed. All right. Let's see the Timberwolves schedule. Beware, it's one of the easier ones left. But they do have a game in Milwaukee tomorrow. Do the Bucks have anything to play for? That would be nice to see. I know Dame's still up. Hoping he recovers. The Bucks, yeah, they do have something to play for. I think they could still technically catch Indiana, although that's going to be difficult. But more importantly, they're 1 game up on the Detroit Pistons. The Bucks are in the 5 spot. The Pistons are in the 6 spot. They trip up. They could fall down in the 6th. Yeah, they're going to be playing that game. That is definitely a game the Timberwolves could lose. Then they got a game in Memphis on Thursday. So it's a back-to-back. I take it all back. Minnesota, I think they're going to lose one of these games. I know they've been playing really well. And then their final game is on Friday? Wow. They only got 3 games left. No, that can't be right. No, they still play on Sunday. At home against Utah. Thanks, Google, for showing me just 3 games when you could easily show me 4. So, again, if you get the Clippers winning out plus a Denver loss, plus a Minnesota loss, you're no worse than the 4 seed. There's so much to play for. That carrot is being dangled. There's a real possibility. And I thought last night, I was saying it feels like that final game of the regular season where the Clippers are up in San Francisco taking on the Golden State Warriors is going to decide who's the 6th seed and who ends up in the play-in. That could be way off, depending on what happens with Minnesota, Denver, Golden State, and Memphis. I think the Lakers are going to end up a 3 seed, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, who knows? There are so many different possibilities. I don't even think it's worth going through all of them, but just if the Clippers win out, they're no worse than the 6th seed. If they win out plus 1 Denver loss, no worse than the 5 seed. If they win out plus 1 Denver loss and 1 Minnesota loss, no worse than the 4 seed. I think that's a real possibility that Denver and Minnesota each lose a game. And the Clippers could win out. That is on the table. The 4 spot. How wild is that? Coming into the season, I thought they were going to finish somewhere between 6 and 10. 6th seed at the high end, 10th seed at the low end. They are within range. And there's a real world where the Clippers end up in the 4 to 5. And I don't think the 4 is that far away, honestly. Just looking at the fact that Timberwolves have Milwaukee on Wednesday, in Milwaukee, and then the very next night, they're in Memphis. Well, Memphis has a lot to play for. Milwaukee doesn't want to fall to the 6th spot in the East. They should both be playing hard. They could drop one of those games easily. And then you need the Denver Nuggets to lose one. Well, they've been losing plenty as of late. They're reeling right now. And they got at Sacramento on Wednesday, Friday at home against Memphis, and then on the road in Houston on Sunday. You tell me they can't lose one of those games? There's so much to play for that I think, yeah, I'm starting to change my mind about Kawhi not playing versus the Spurs. No, I think you shouldn't need him against San Antonio. It's no disrespect to San Antonio. It's about how well the Clippers have been playing. And the Spurs are beat up. They've lost 7 of 8. They have lost to some good teams, though. They have had a tough schedule. So maybe they're better than that record would tell you they are. But it's a transitional year for them. It went from, they got De'Aaron Fox. Maybe they have a shot at the 9th or the 10th spot in the West. And then the unfortunate blood clot injury with Wemby. And then De'Aaron Fox gets injury and he's out for the season. So from being a wild card team that could get into the play-in to, okay, we're looking ahead towards next season. San Antonio is going to be great. They're going to be very good for a long time. I think Stephon Castle is an absolute stud. He has star potential in this league. And the Clippers have to be aware of that. So it's tough, guys. Mike says, Rockets game going to be too taxing on Kawhi's body. Rockets too young. I don't want Kawhi running up and down the court against those young Bucks. Well, what if they get them in the first round? Do you want to see how you look against Houston also with Kawhi, who hasn't played in the 3 games they played against them so far? Marcino said this team is locked in. Sit against the Spurs, play against the Rockets. It's simple, man. I guess I can see it either way. What would I do? Yeah, I would probably sit him against San Antonio. and have them play against Houston. But the fact that Houston might not be playing for anything does change the equation. But we'll find out tomorrow night about that. That's only if the Lakers lose to OKC, and they did just blow them out. Is OKC going to be playing all their guys again? Do they care about bouncing back and putting together a better performance against them? Lowman says this is a great discussion. It's mental gymnastics going through the different scenarios. Yeah, it's Charlie Day with the whiteboard trying to connect the dots, trying to figure this thing out. I just know this. The Clippers need to win the next 4 games because I really think that 4 seed is attainable. And the fact that the odds are much higher getting that than I realized means you got to go all out. Does that mean Kawhi needs to play against San Antonio? Or does that just mean the guys who are available need to turn up? And it actually means you need Kawhi for full minutes against Houston. Because if he plays against San Antonio, I don't think you're getting him for 38 minutes against the Houston Rockets, the better team, the next night. But again, maybe Houston has nothing to play for. No Man says, Clips motivated to win out regardless of what everyone is doing. Yeah, prayers up for Wemby. That was so unfortunate for him, the Spurs, the league. It's just unbelievable. Mike said you have to factor in Clips' luck in all of this. You never know. You know luck is never on our side. You make your own luck. You win the last 4, and yeah, you can scoreboard watch and standings watch all you want, but handle your own business first. MX Canar said, unfortunately, the Rockets still need to win, and they got us next. Do they? Are we sure? I thought I saw if the Lakers lose tomorrow, that's it. They can't catch the Rockets for the 2 seed. So the Lakers, yeah. And they are, what are they? 3.5 games back. They're 3.5 games back. With how many to go? I know they play each other on Friday. Can somebody confirm this? Because I'm pretty sure. I know the tiebreaker could still be determined by Friday, but I really thought that if the Lakers lose in OKC, that's it. They can't catch Houston. Mike said, no, I don't want them to see how it feels like to play versus Kawhi. Mike doesn't want to play Kawhi versus Houston. He's the one person in here saying that. Mike, you might want to reevaluate things. Maybe you're the one that's right. You're Nico Harrison saying, no, all you guys are wrong. I'm right. You don't know what I know. Mark Jag said, I watched a Ben Simmons documentary and he has underachieved his whole career. He seemed to lack a drive to be great. He's got by off raw talent. I mean, he's had 2 serious back injuries. That Mexican Nara said, play him and pray it's a blowout where he only plays limited minutes. Even if he only plays limited minutes against San Antonio, just like he did Friday against Dallas, he's going to be on a minutes restriction, I would assume, the very next night, just like he was Saturday against Dallas. That is the issue with playing him against San Antonio. Jonathan Ing said, I hate how Golden State, Lakers, Wolves, Grizz have been winning and not cooperating enough. Having Golden State lose to the Rockets was huge, but need all the help we can get. It's true. The hate watching that we have been doing, it hasn't always worked out.
It can always be worse.
Wait a second. I thought I had. Yeah, I do have it. Here's Big Zoo.
Being hater.
We're being haters right now. Player haters anthem, player haters ball. We are hoping for other teams around the Clippers to lose.
Being hater.
Lakers Wolves would be a good series. There aren't many matchups that wouldn't be a good series in the West. I joked about this last night. I put out this post last night saying teams you don't want to see in the West. Lakers, Thunder, Nuggets, Clippers, Rockets, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Warriors. If you can avoid these teams in the first round, you should be okay. Obviously, those are the top 8 teams in the West. You can't avoid those teams. I'm just saying, we keep getting into these conversations like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to play this team, and I want to play this team, and I don't want to play. Well, you got to play somebody. There are no good options. The West is that tough. Kai said the urge to sit Kawhi for the rest of the season is strong, but these last games are so important. The urge is not strong. Not when you can get the 4 spot if you win the last 4 and get 1 loss from Minnesota and 1 loss from Denver. All you need is 1 loss from Minnesota, 1 loss from Denver, and you win the last 4 and you're the 4 seed. I'm going for it. Where you can have home court at Intuit Dome in the first round, I am going for it. All out. Bay City said, watch Ben walk. He's a little hunched over at times. Why did this turn into Ben Simmons watch? Like,
Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben.
I ain't worried about Ben.
Put it up, Ben.
Overall, he's been solid with the Clippers. Go look at his assist to turnover ratio. He hasn't looked as good, though, since he came back from the knee issue. Like, it's been kind of diminishing returns since his first game, that game in Utah right before the All-Star break. Steve said Clippers should just win out and let the chips fall where they may. I agree. Terry said, what's the topic now? Well, there's literally a title to this video that will tell you what the topic is. Ralph said, I wish there was a way Kawhi would be available in uniform just in case against San Antonio so he could just sit if he could. So you're saying, like, it's a close game. They haven't played Kawhi the first 3 quarters. And now, hey, Kawhi, come save us in the 4th. Put San Antonio away. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if they would go that route.
Yes, sir.
He'd just come in cold in the 4th quarter. The closer. Mike said if the Rockets lose all remaining games, they finish the season 52-30. If the Lakers win 3 out of 4 remaining games, they finish the season 31-31. So if they won all 4, they would also finish 52-30. Therefore, they would have the tiebreaker over Houston because they have a game left against them, and that will decide the tiebreaker. So, yeah, if the Lakers lose tomorrow, that's it. Houston has the 2 seed. Was that good deduction from what Mike just said? That's how I'm reading this, guys. I know, math's hard. Jonathan Ing said, I don't want to get matched up against Minnie if possible. Ant been playing like a bad, bad man lately. Yes, he has.
Yes, sir.
Ralph said, although I would get there'd be some extra interest there with the junkie was talking to Kawhi last season, and I know they're friends and they respect each other, but at the free throw line going back and forth a little bit. Ralph Clawler said it doesn't matter who we play, Saltier. This is our year. All right. I like the confidence. I'm trying to see like if I got some horns or anything that I could play to get pumped after reading that. This is our year.
Yes, sir.
I guess the best I got is yes, sir. Mark Jag said in school. Okay. I don't want to go to the Ben Simmons conversation here. The only thing I care about with Ben Simmons is
Put it up, Ben.
as long as he is looking at the rim and being aggressive still, I think he's been solid so far. The documentary is called One and Done. Maybe I'll check it out. That Mexican Nar said Nuggets, Warriors, or Rockets, in my opinion. Those are the teams you want to play most. Bay City said, I think the Clippers have the personnel without Kawhi to do the job in San Antonio. On San Antonio. So that game is it into a dome? Yeah, I agree completely. There's no excuse for me. If they don't have Kawhi tomorrow night and he doesn't play against San Antonio and they lose that game, you will hear me say no excuses post game. They have enough. They have plenty. They have beaten San Antonio with Wemby. They came back on them down 26 without Kawhi this season. There would absolutely be no built-in excuse if you lost at San Antonio. Steve Barrios said, with the news that Murray's hammy is getting worse somehow, I say the best bet is playing the Nuggets, even with Jokic. Ooh. If your best bet is playing the best player in the world, I believe. SGA may have had the better season slightly because team record and some defensive metrics, but I think Jokic is still the best player in the world, guys. If that's your best option, that's kind of shitty. But you might be right, Steve. AN said we don't need Kawhi to beat the Spurs. Tossin said we don't need Nuggets to lose. We only need Timberwolves to lose. We have the 4-way tie, but not the 5-way. Look, all I know is Justin Russo put that out there that for them to get the 4 spot, they need the Timberwolves to lose 1, the Nuggets to lose 1, the Clippers to win their last 4. Terry said, I've watched a lot of games recently. Defense is very important for winning. A team with great defense would more than likely win. Denver ranked 20th on defense. Lakers ranked 15th. Yeah, but I think both teams would play better defensively in a playoff series. But you're not wrong. Denver has struggled on that end all season. Can they just flip a switch? I do think the Lakers' defensive metrics aren't that telling to how they're playing now. So for 2 months, believe it or not, the Lakers had the number 1 defense in the league. From January 15th to March 15th, they had the number 1 defensive rating in the league. Now, last 15 games, they've been like 20th. But then the way they just beat OKC and held them to 99 points and won by 27, it was the biggest beatdown of the Thunder this season. The way they play defense in that game is what I'm concerned about. They have gotten up for some big games. They just beat Houston. They had won that game in February in Denver. They slayed that giant or that dragon. They got the monkey off their back there playing really good defense. I think they have potential to play much better defense. Amir is still out. Terry said that's the biggest reason Denver losing recently, their defense. Oh, you're not wrong. Y'all Nathan said the big boys got to come out and play. Big boys got. I think you're referencing something.
I mean, you got to be big boys and come out and play.
B said home court would be nice. Yes, it would be. It would be pretty remarkable after this last offseason and how many people had them as a bottom 4 team in the West. Punk's Gone Wrong said, hey, Adam, text the Claw and ask him if he's going to play. Unfortunately, you know what? I got a new phone when I lost Kawhi's number. It sucks, man. Legend said, I need the Nuggets because I know Russ. Yeah. Mr. Felton said Kawhi needs to play the remaining games. He needs the reps. He will have enough recovery time if we secure the 6th seed or above. Do they need him to play against San Antonio to win that game, though? Because, again, the issue is if you play him against San Antonio, he's going to be on a minutes restriction most likely the next night against Houston, when you would need him to play more minutes, you would think. 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150 if you guys want to get on here. Jonathan Ing said, Ben does need to be an offensive threat at least. Otherwise, it negates his passing. You're not wrong.
Put it up, Ben. Put it up, Ben.
And said Norm Powell going to turn up against the Spurs. I believe that. Miss Shake said, I agree with Steve. Nuggets bench is trash. Terry said, if you look at the top 8 teams in the West, 6 of them rank top 10 in defensive efficiency. Lakers, Nuggets are not in that list. But the Lakers have had such a big makeover. Like looking at their overall defensive ranking this season, when you're talking about guys who are on the roster that aren't there anymore, it doesn't mean a lot to me. I'm just going to tell you right now, I think the Lakers are much better defensively and can be in a playoff series. I've seen what I've needed to see to believe that when they've gotten into some of these big games, just like them blowing out OKC, they held them under 100. Fear the bearded claw will go all the way, says Mikey. Bay City said, have at it, Norm. Jonathan Ing said, outside of Joker, nobody else on the Nuggets scared me, especially if Murray doesn't get healthy enough to play. Nuggets lost with a 60-point triple-double. That is insane. Yeah, they lost to Minnesota also. I think, yes, you could get by, and maybe you have a shot to beat him in 6 if it's just Jokic and Jamal Murray's not able to go. But Jamal Murray is able to go. He is a playoff riser, especially against LA teams. Know this. Terry said, agree. Lakers will be more dangerous in the playoffs. I think JJ Redick is a good schemer, a good coach. James said, according to Wendy, Denver is 7th and Clippers is 5th when you compute the numbers. What do you mean? Like after the next week, that's where they're going to all end up? That Mexican Nar said, even if the Lakers lose, I don't think the Rockets will rest their guys. They have momentum. Ideally, you want momentum going into the playoffs. Rest versus rust. Bay City said, cool as a cucumber is the claw. Steve said, if Kawhi sits against San Antonio, I'm hoping they use that game to give Norm the reins and let him cook. Going to need him to play great for the playoffs. We've seen him get the green light recently and had dropped 34 in that game against Cleveland on the front end of a back-to-back without Kawhi. Joe said, Adam does not load manage. Podcast streak is crazy. Is it that crazy? I mean, come on. I'm so lonely. Please help me. When you're feeling like that all the time, according to AI Adam, you want to be with Clipper Nation. But the streak continues.
We're going streaking! Yes!
185 straight days. Mark said, let Kawhi decide if he wants to play or not. That settles that. He knows how he feels better than anyone. The only problem there is players will always want to play, even if they're not feeling great. I mean, Kawhi, yeah, maybe he knows his body well enough that if anything is amiss, he's not going to risk it because he wants to get out of this season healthy. He has said that's his main goal. It's just a difficult thing to judge. Andrew said, based on Kawhi's current form and the team's performance, how does this year's playoff push compare to previous seasons in terms of readiness and potential success? Well, if you trust net rating, and they're plus 14.5 over the last 17 games, you can argue that this is the hottest they have looked heading into the playoffs in this era, last 6 years. B said, I want to see Batum start and close in the playoffs. I don't think you're too far off. I think it could happen. Ray said, if I make it through TSA in time for my flight, I'll call the studio. Well, I do want to go watch the second half of this game. Why am I seeing Family Feud on? The hell is this? I have it on CBS. Am I missing something? Did the game get delayed? It was on. I have it on CBS. Okay, maybe I did change the channel. Son of a bitch. There's 18 minutes left. All right, I might be heading out, guys. I want to watch the end of the game too. How did Shea get 0 free throw attempts against the Lakers? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's this weird thing. Lakers don't foul a lot, but they do get a lot of fouls. Terry said Lakers will rest their starters tomorrow against OKC, which means Rockets will certainly be a 2 seed after tomorrow. Does that mean Houston will rest some of their starters against us? I think it's on the table if that happens. Are you sure the Lakers are going to rest guys? They still have things to play for. How did Bogey turn up when he turned into a Clipper? I don't know. I predicted it. Mr. Felton said, you don't leave anything to chance this late in the season. Kawhi's only played 34 games this season. I think 38 on the season is a solid amount of reps for a good playoff run. I mean, there is another element to this. Is it worth pushing him in back-to-back games, even if he's on limited minutes, even if he only plays 24 in one game, 25 the next, like we saw over the weekend against Dallas? Does that increase the chance of him having a flare-up? I don't know. I trust the doctors. If he plays, then he should play. If he doesn't, then he shouldn't play. I trust them that they have the best grasp, as much as you can have, on what's going on with Kawhi. Ray said the NBA is going to make rules to support podcasting rest. The AC Green of podcasts. Kai said, what are you going to do when we win the chip? What am I going to do?
We're going streaky! Yes!
That's not what I would do. Terry said, the player of the week means a lot, especially when the playoffs coming soon. It speaks to how Kawhi is playing and peaking. Jonathan Ing said, with Wendy, it would be if season ended today, Wolves 4, Clips 5, Nuggets 6, Golden State Warriors 6, Nuggets 7. Why did we get the Nuggets twice in there? Kind of confusing. Steve said, has anyone noticed Harden not trying his signature hook the arm while driving to the basket to draw a foul during the current 17 games? I don't know if that's accurate. James Jackson said, and thank you for the super chat, James. It's much appreciated. Dunn is a huge X factor. If he hitting threes, we got a chance. Agree. Lowman said, should not need Kawhi versus the Spurs this late in the season. A bad loss isn't expected. Would still be confident for Clips to win that one. I would be too. All right, guys. I'm going to head out. I want to watch the national championship game here. Houston's up 36-30. I don't have a dog in the fight. Doesn't matter to me. Just want to see both teams play hard, man. Terry said Lakers will play back-to-back game against the Mavs in Dallas after playing OKC. I saw some Lakers reports said they will rest their starters against OKC. That's interesting. That Mavericks game is obviously huge in the spectacle sense because it's Luka's first time back in Dallas. All right. Appreciate y'all. Talk to you tomorrow. Pre-game at 6:30. Clippers taking on San Antonio. 4 games left in the regular season. Talk to you then.
Off the air.